Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here today. I am on my lunch, sitting here in front of the courthouse, and I was looking through Twitter when I was on my break today, and I saw the news that Lex Luger is going into the WWE Hall of Fame this year at WrestleMania 41. I honestly believe that Lex deserves to be a Hall of Famer. Honestly, should have been on the list quite a few years ago, going back to probably WrestleMania 27. He hasn't really had an in-ring career since 2001 to 2002 when he had his stroke, which led to him being paralyzed. Of course, that happened at the San Francisco convention in 2002 that a lot of people saw just went ballistic and just off the rails. And one of the biggest stories to come out of there was Lex just happened to be in town, and he ended up having to be paralyzed, and he ended up having to seek help in a San Francisco hospital for months and months and months after that convention. Yesterday, I made a video about the natural disasters going into the Hall of Fame. I hope that was not like fake news that just got put out into the world. Hopefully that is something that's going to be reported on sooner than later. I don't see how that gets out and it's just totally fake unless it just got bombed out by just some total troll. John Tenta, as well as Tugboat, beyond the point of crazy that I guess they would get trolled like that. But hopefully, WrestleMania is coming up sooner than later. Hopefully the news comes out. But I've made two videos on Lex going into the Hall of Fame. One when I thought he was the most deserving guy to go in, and then one last year when I said, why is Lex Luger not in the WWE Hall of Fame? Of course, there was the WWE Confidential story that came out. What year was Confidential on? 2003? 2002, 2003, somewhere in there, when they did like the in-depth on the death of Miss Elizabeth. And at that point, Lex Luger wasn't really in with WWE at the time, so they kind of they buried him pretty damn good. And even in an interview that he did with Chris Van Vliet, he says that he's not the reason that Miss Elizabeth died, but he was a deciding factor. So he takes his role in that situation, and what was going on inside that household at the time probably led to the reason why he had his stroke and why he was paralyzed. And they were just living pretty wild at the time. Apologize if there's any wind coming through, but 2 times in Lex's career I thought he was pretty damn cool. The Lex Express stuff in 1992, I know even as a kid it didn't really make sense to me. His babyface turn where he just showed up on the Intrepid and he slammed Yokozuna, and that led him to being the #1 contender at SummerSlam. It really didn't make sense coming out of the narcissist gimmick, but that narcissist gimmick, it sucked. Go back and watch the Rumble and go back and watch WrestleMania 9. Kind of the 2 appearances that he made on pay-per-view that are easy to find other than Wrestling Challenge and Wrestling Superstars. I don't know. I mean, definitely that guy was going to be hated for how much he loved himself, and maybe that's what they were going for, but I don't see, with a heel champion at that time, I don't really see how he fits in with what was going on in WWE at the time. It just kind of didn't it. So they just hit the right nail at the right time with him turning into the red, white, and blue, being Mr. USA. They really didn't have that #1 babyface. They, taking the title off of Bret Hart. They were going with Yokozuna. It was cool. And as a kid who paid for that pay-per-view, well, my dad paid for that pay-per-view, as my birthday present, that match ending in a count-out, even though the stipulation was that Luger would never get a shot at the title ever again, I loved it. I just knew that it was coming somewhere up down the road, and whatever happened for the reason why he didn't win the championship at WrestleMania 10, I mean, he came out with the title on a taping of Superstars. They said that he was the champion. There's video of it. You can still see today. I don't know why Vince changed his mind. But who knows what the WWF would have been like at that time. And then, of course, you know, being the sort of like the lone WCW guy while Sting was off doing his own thing to go out and be the first guy to beat Hogan in the NWO. Really saved his character. I mean, I thought that Lex always was good in WCW, but the storyline that was going on with Lex, where Jimmy Hart like bought his contract and he was part of the he wasn't part of the Dungeon of Doom. He was part of the the guys that I know he was hanging out with Ming. I can't remember what their name was, but it just didn't make sense. Then he was tagging with Sting. Sting was a babyface, and he was a heel behind his back that wanted Sting to think he was a good guy. I don't know when Lex was going to screw him, but I guess that sort of played into the whole, you know, Sting turning his back on WCW and the fans. But that storyline sort of had been dropped before they did that. But, you know, that episode of Nitro, I watched it back last year. It doesn't get any better than that. WCW fans really had no hopes of anybody defeating the NWO till Sting came back. And even though he won the title on a Monday and he lost it on a Saturday, you know, it still showed the NWO could be beat. But the guy's awesome. He was one of the biggest dudes in professional wrestling. He might not have been the nicest to reporters, been the nicest to fans. He might have sort of just been there for the money. But the dude was over. And for the strides he's making in his career, the video that WWE put out of Cody Rhodes surprising him during that same interview that's been out for a little while, where he stood up for the first time and, you know, he hugged DDP. He's making his strides. I hope he can get better. I hope that's what we're working towards, and hope he can walk again. I mean, that would be big. So, Lex going to the Hall of Fame. I got 2 thumbs up for it. I can honestly tell you that as of right now, it made my day.